Jesus has won the victory because now the greatest artist that God has ever created is working for him. This is by Kanye West, and my question is, where's the lie? Hey, what's up? This is part of my shorty series where I take little thoughts that I've condensed into these limited characters and posted on social media with the hopes of expanding in the comment section through comments or me actually posting things that actually expand on it and just have some interaction, an open conversation, as the young folks say in current year. And with this one, I'm talking about the whole situation with Kanye West coming out for Jesus, Yezus coming out for Jesus. And then this whole phenomena coming out, people on the political right, a lot of people that I listen to on the political right, or I've seen these things and go to comment sections, people like, yay, Kanye is coming out for Jesus. And then this situation, just this whole thing with the Sunday service, this whole Jesus hearts Jesus phenomena. Like it's an odd thing. And Kanye recently, this was recently, okay, it wasn't recently, it was recently when I posted this thing, but I think it's months ago. He came out with Joel Osteen, and Joel Osteen is one of the most famous these evangelical type of preachers. He has a huge following on TV. I know people who aren't even Christian that watch Joel Osteen on a regular basis and they say he's inspirational. And I think he was the first person. I think the Christian satire site, the Babylon Bee, I think came to its prominence, it's one of its biggest viral, that's one of its earliest viral posts, was I think of Joel Osteen during the Houston floods from 2018, if I'm not mistaken. They were mocking him about his yacht and things like that. And anyway, so this is Joel Osteen. He's a very well-known Christian personality in the United States of America, massive following. And then Kanye has been making his rounds of the situation. I'll talk about the Kanye thing in a bit, but he went on and actually came on there. He performed in front of Joel Osteen's crowd on the stage, and then he was being interviewed after. And Kanye, being Kanye, said a very Kanye thing, and he says Jesus has won the Jesus has won the victory because now the greatest artist the God has ever created is working for him. And that is a total Kanye thing to say. He believes it. He does believe he's the greatest artist ever to exist. And if he believes in God and God created everything, then to him, he's completely correct in saying this. But some people now came out, I saw some comment sections like, what's he talking about? First of all, well, these people, there's a lot of people on the political right who are embracing this, but they're not necessarily fans of rap. They're not necessarily fans of rap music, and they're not really, there's a lot of people who are white people, and they're not really familiar with that black urban culture, but they're thinking it's a big thing. And let me now talk more about the Kanye situation. This isn't a big thing. If you're familiar with black culture, Jesus is big in black culture. They love them some Jesus. It's not an old thing. Even through slavery, they still maintain that whole situation. They all still maintain their faith, and they're still very religious. The percent of African Americans that identify as Christians, I think, is highest than any other demographic in the United States of America. Jesus is big there. People rapping about Jesus is not even a big deal. Even Kanye West himself, if you're familiar with him, one of his biggest hits, his earliest hits, was Jesus Walks. Now, he changed a few of the lyrics to make in this new comeback to Jesus, in this new come to Jesus moment, but it was like 2 or 3 lyrics and things like that. He's been big on this. People wear chains with crosses on a regular basis. Jesus is big in the black community. You have just straight, just hood gangster rappers talking about Jesus, talking about walking with God. You have the most like Cardi B type of just TNA out hanging out and talking about sexuality who are still just avowed Christians and things like this. It's been big in the community. So this whole idea that Kanye turning to Jesus is somehow going to flip people on the black people to think it's okay to be on the right, because some people on the right think Christianity is synonymous with voting Republican, being conservative. When, as I've mentioned, there are similarities between the statist religions and actual theologies and things like that, the Abrahamic religions. So there is a very good, there have been some cases made that socialism and things like that actually came out of Christianity and things like that. I won't get into that here, but you can check it out online. I think there are some pretty decent things with that, but I don't necessarily see anything in Christianity that is incompatible with socialism. It's a simple thing. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. There's nothing against taxation. There's nothing against big governments as long as you include the church in there. When the church has been in control of the state systems, it's not like they were against taxation. They weren't against having states that actually were very controlling of their people and things like that. They weren't necessarily against that. They're not against being tax exempt because they say, oh, if we can keep this money to do these other things. They're not against the whole situation where a certain percentage of their flock's revenue should be given to that system because that centralized system knows how to treat the flock in a better way and redistribute that wealth. They're not against these things. So to see those things where it's like, oh, we're going to bring them more to the conservative side, it's not going to be because of that. I think things like seeing Kanye wear the Make America Great Again hat, him actually going into the White House, him meeting Trump in Trump Tower and things like that. I think that was right after the election or during the actual run up to it. Those things are a lot more significant. But him embracing Jesus, which I still think is more of a tax kind of scheme thing. His wife's family, Kim Kardashian's family, her mother, started a church. It's not unknown, it's not unexpected to actually start some kind of church in order to have some kind of tax scheme where you're funneling your money through these things, or it's a religious type of event, so it's not necessarily subject to taxation. That's not necessarily out of it's not out of thinking. It's not out of the realm of possibility that that's what it is. I'm not saying it is what it is, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. But I am saying that him embracing Jesus is not a big thing. It's not going to sway anyone on the political right. It's not going to sway anyone in the black community that, oh, because he switched to Jesus, we're going to switch to Jesus and then we're going to start voting conservative. No, Donald Trump himself has made far better a case of switching and going to vote for more small government, more republic type of things, rule of law type of things like that, and not being on the welfare tate. I think he's made enough of a case, a strong enough case for that without this kind of situation. And for the Christians out there who say this isn't true, who are you to say this? Did God come and tell you that Kanye isn't the greatest artist ever? Maybe Kanye's lived experience is that God has talked to him and told us that's his truth. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section. Till next video. Links to merchandise below. Goodbye.